Hey guys, welcome back to this week's Pull here on Comic Relief Cast. I'm your host Jake.
And I'm Josh. Hey Jake, got a quick question for you.
Jesus, what is it?
What is in your Crypt of Shadows?
I don't even know.
What are we reading?
All right, now that we got that out of the way.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm
running out of questions.
Yeah, I can tell. You guys have obviously clicked this week's Marvel episode, and in this week we are going to be going over War is Hell #1, Crypt of Shadows #1, Superior Spider-Man #2, The Earth's Mightiest Heroes, The Avengers 13, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man #2, The Immortal Hulk #12, Uncanny XMen Annual #1, and Guardians of the Galaxy #1, the much anticipated Donny Cates Guardians of the Galaxy. And we're going to start it right off with War is Hell by Howard Chaykin and Edgar Delgado. Now, Josh, what did you think of War is Hell?
Well, apparently war is really hell. But I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of war comics.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason. I feel like there's a reason. But I feel like they missed a good opportunity. I feel like if you're gonna make a war comic that's based, like nowadays, it's like we've already read ones about World War I, World War II, Vietnam. I think it's like they could have focused a little bit more on, a little bit more relatable current wars that's happened.
Well, I think they do. I mean, the first part is a World War II one, and it's by Howard Chaykin. And I actually really like, I like Howard Chaykin. I like when he does stuff like this. It's something that's a little bit more politically driven. He'll do stuff like that, and I like it. He did Divided States of Hysteria and things like that, and I like that. But what I don't like about the book is that it's split up into two different sections. And the first section is the Howard Chaykin stuff, World War II, about a fighter pilot who likes jazz, who's also part of the Nazi Third Reich, and not allowed to like jazz because of Aryan superiority and all that stuff. But then it feels very short, and it feels like
like it ends abruptly.
Yeah, I feel like this Coen Brothers ending where it's just like a cut to black, and it's like, okay, what happened here? And then the next one is a very much more of an allegory, and it takes place in Afghanistan. So I assumed it's something a little bit more current, if not in today's standards. But the thing is, it's all about this like demon of war, and I was really thinking, okay, this book is going to take the chance to give us the real repercussions and consequences of war, and you should have just done one of these two stories all the way through the book.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it wasn't for me. I think that there were some really good topics they could have delved into. Honestly, if they would have stayed with that first one in World War II and really fleshed that one out, I think it had the potential to be a really good comic book. But unfortunately, it feels, one of my favorite terms, kneecapped. It just feels like it got cut off at the knees, and I didn't get the full story.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting take on World War II.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong; it's one that we haven't seen in comics.
And there was some good commentary. There was commentary from the fighter pilot who says, like, Germany is my country, not Nazi Germany. I go, you know what? That's something I honestly never even thought to.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happens in that story that you don't read a whole lot.
Right.
But personally, and I wasn't a huge fan of the second story, but I think I would, if I was to read a war comic now, I would want to read something that's a little bit more based in Afghanistan, because we don't see, though we haven't seen what was happening in that World War II story that much, we haven't seen any comics really based around Afghanistan other than stuff that's speaking on commentary through other comics.
Right. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one the rating. I'll unveil this episode's rating, and it's going to be Gorgillas. Unfortunately, I can't recommend this one, guys. I'm going to give this one a 2.2 Gorgillas. Not great, but the first half had at least a little bit to say.
Matt, I'm right with you on that one. It's a 2.2 Gorgillas for me as well.
All right, moving on to Crypt of Shadows #1 by Al Ewing, and the artists are Gary Brown and Stephen Green. Now, this one was kind of cool. This is Al Ewing. He's been doing the Immortal Hulk, and he's getting his chance to do a little bit of a
straight horror comic.
Yeah, exactly. I can't understand why they released Crypt of Shadows in January, though. It seems like a weird time to release a book like this.
Well, they're just releasing these new or these old titles for the 80 years.
I get that. I'm just saying January seems like an odd release date for something like this, but whatever. I read it. I actually liked it. I mean, I'm not big on horror comics books. I don't really think you get the same feel and effect of reading a horror comic as you do watching a horror movie. I think a lot of what makes horror scary is the atmosphere. It's the sound or lack of sound. It's the atmosphere that the creator tries to put you in, and you can't really do that when reading a comic book. But I think this was a valiant effort by Al Ewing, but I will say that it does not measure up in any way, shape, or form to me to his Immortal Hulk series going on right now. I think it's vastly superior.
I agree with you on that. The horror comics for me is a little bit different. It's a different kind of medium, but I do enjoy horror comics. Like this one kind of reminds me of something that you would see in like a Twilight Zone episode.
Right.
And I do like the eeriness of that kind of stuff. I understand what you're saying with the sounds, and I can get that too. But sometimes I just like reading a good horror-based comic, which most of our viewers will probably already kind of realize that with some of the books that I usually tend to gravitate to. But I enjoyed it. I thought the artwork was kind of great. But this is like a perfect example of artwork being with the right kind of story. If this was like with an Avenger story, it would not work. But
right.
I thought it was good. And I mean, with that being said, I would recommend this book.
Yeah, I would tentatively recommend it. Like I said, I just don't get the same vibe from horror comic books, because a lot of horror movies too is the tension that builds, and the tension is very intentional on the director's part, right? How much time you have to sit with a scene so it creeps you out. This, I can just flip the page any old time. But the biggest letdown really is, honestly, I saw the twist coming a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
It was really easy to read on the clues, and, again, it's a directorial choice in a movie how much time you want to devote to that. But when I can kind of pick up the clues as I read along, it's not really the same effect. But I would tentatively recommend this book. I'm going to give it a 2.85 Gorgillas.
I'm at 3 Gorgillas.
All right. I'm going to move on to Earth's Mightiest Heroes, The Avengers, issue 13. This one it's still written by Jason Aaron, but this issue is actually illustrated by Andrea Sorrentino. You guys know from Gideon Falls or Old Man Logan. Sorrentino does a great job there and does a great job here in this book as well. So what this does is this issue takes a step back from the main story, focuses on the Iron Fist from 1 million BC. And if you guys read the Ed Brubaker, Matt Fraction Iron Fist run, this feels like it could fit so well with that. This would be such a great little addition to that run, because it's all about the very first Iron Fist, the first person to defeat Shao Lao and get the power of the Iron Fist, and what she does when she goes to Earth. There are some familiar elements to this book that kind of echoes to the greater Marvel universe, but it's very much an isolated story about this one original first Iron Fist, and I thought this was great. Like I said, I love the Brubaker Fraction Iron Fist, and this feels exactly like something from there. Jason Aaron still killing it, adding to the mythology of these things, so we never heard about the first Iron Fist, and I assume Jason Aaron's going to expand upon that with the first Sorcerer Supreme and the first Black Panther, all that stuff that we've been introduced to. But this one I thought was a great issue. I absolutely recommend this book. So if you've been enjoying Avengers, this is just a great supplemental read of that. I'm going to give this one 3.8 Gorgillas. It's actually where we get the rating, is the Gorgillas in this book, but 3.8, great issue.
All right, and I read Superior Spider-Man number 2, written by Christos Gage and Mike Hawthorne. It just pretty much is picking up with Otto Octavius starting his life in San Francisco as Superior Spider-Man. The first issue was actually really good. This issue is not as good, but it is action-packed. He's going up against Tarax?
Tarax, yeah.
Yeah, Tarax. I can never say his name right. But it's an action-packed issue, and I love what they're doing to kind of continue off the story of the Superior Spider-Man run on Dan Slott's, where was it Dan Slott that did the Superior?
He started, but Christos Gage, I think, ended up doing it.
Yeah. And it's great. And then also there was one mention of a die being cast, so I'm cool with that. With that, I gotta quit saying with that being said. But I give this book 3 Gorgillas.
All right, moving on to Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man issue 2 by Tom Taylor, and the artist is Juan Cabal. Now, if you guys were listening, neither Josh or I were really that taken with the first issue, but we're here to give you issue 2, see if it gets any better, see how Tom Taylor follows up that issue 1, because honestly, the most appealing thing was that art germ cover variant that came on Spider-Man, or Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 1. This is a fine story. It's fine.
Yeah.
It does seem to be running concurrently with The Amazing Spider-Man by Nick Spencer, but this is very much more of an intimate look at Spider-Man. It's much more one-on-one interactions with people he knows or doesn't know, kind of what he's doing in his everyday life. I would kind of liken this to Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run, actually, in a sense. I don't think it's nearly as good as that, and I think the biggest pitfall, honestly, is that Tom Taylor, I don't think, lends a very strong, unique voice to Spider-Man. It feels like a very generic...
Friendly generic Spider-Man.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, friendly generic Spider-Man. The story that's being told, it's a lot of new characters being introduced, some old familiar faces, but there's a mystery going on in this book, and I'm really not that invested. I really don't care where it goes, and that's my biggest problem. I enjoy reading panel to panel, but the overall story, I'm not that invested in. I can't recommend this one. But if you are a Spider-Man fan and you're looking for something to pick up and you already have issue 1, light pull this week, why not? Give it a go. It's not going to hurt you, but I'm going to give this one 2.9 Gorgillas.
With the on this book, the one thing I realize is like we get a lot of regulars who have young kids that come in here, and I'm talking like real young, and they want to read something Spider-Man related. And I have a hard time trying to find a good Spider-Man book that doesn't have ideas that go over these little kids' heads. And this would be the perfect book for them. That would be the kind of people that I would recommend this to. If you're also a person who really liked that Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man that just came out and ended, this would be another kind of book I feel like that you would kind of get into. But for me, I think that this book is definitely just a better set for a younger audience that would understand, or doesn't take a whole lot for them to understand the concepts and everything. So I give this book a 2.5 Gorgillas.
All right, I'm going to be moving on to the Immortal Hulk, issue 12 by Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. Not even going to sugarcoat it, guys. This is easily my favorite issue this week, Marvel or DC. This was probably, in my opinion, the best installment to the Immortal Hulk series to date. I don't want to give anything away about what happens in this book. I don't want to tell you what's going on. I don't want to summarize it in any way. I just want to say that Al Ewing is dealing with some big ideas, high concept. Thematically, I think it's so good. And not only that, but there are some great moments in this book. There's some great moments between Bruce and some of these other characters, or just some great character moments for Bruce himself. I honestly cannot recommend this book enough. If you guys aren't reading Immortal Hulk, find the first volume, the trade, catch up if you can. This is a must-read series. It was on both of our, I think it was both of our #1 top of 2018 series. And I don't know, I can't give this book any more praise. Please pick this up. I'm going to give this book 4.7 Gorgillas. This thing is damn near perfect.
I don't know about if it's my favorite issue from Immortal Hulk, but I definitely will give it I give it a 4.5. It's definitely one of the tops up there, but it's just so hard to pick out, pinpoint which ones, because the whole run has been nothing but gold.
Right, and without being able to talk about specifics on this in this particular issue, I can't say why it's so good.
The one thing I really enjoy about this book is the connections, the biblical connections.
That's what I'm saying. High concept, high thematics. Yeah,
I think that was really cool. Yeah. I read Uncanny XMen Annual #1. This book just pretty much is setting up the how of Cyclops coming back. It was actually a really good book. If you were a fan of Cyclops and you hated Magneto, evil Cyclops, this is a book that you're going to want to read if you're a big fan of Cyclops. It's a book that you're definitely going to want to pick up. I feel like you don't really need to do any kind of prior reading because they do kind of set up these little things kind of going like, with also trying to explain how he's coming back. They kind of like go like, okay, well, in this issue, this happened. In this issue, he happened, but without stopping and pausing the story, which is really nice. I think that this is a good book to pick up, even if you haven't been reading the Uncanny XMen.
Let me ask, who's the creative team on this issue?
Oh, yeah, I didn't mention that, did I? It's Ed Brisson and Carlos Gomez. Ed Brisson's writing it. He also worked on the Uncanny X-Men that was going on weekly for 10 weeks. I definitely suggest picking this up. I give it a 3 Gorgillas.
Really? Only 3? The way you talked about it, I thought it'd be a little bit higher.
Well, it's good, but at the same time, I mean, like, it's not one that I'm, like, it's hard to range it with all the other ones.
Yeah. I gushed over Immortal Hulk. I'm gushing over Avengers. Now we're going to go on to the last issue of the week, which I will tell you guys, I'm gushing over this one too. Guardians of the Galaxy, #1 by Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw. Now, this kind of takes over from Cosmic Ghost Rider. It's kind of taken over the reins a little bit from Infinity Wars, but not in a bad way. Not in a sense that you have to have read Infinity Wars to get this. You honestly don't have to read that. You don't even have to have read Cosmic Ghost Rider, but it might help you or behoove you to read them just to be a little bit more informed on what's informing this book. But basically what's going on is it's the death of Thanos is what drives this book, and I don't want to give anything away, but basically the death of Thanos is bringing all these characters together because there's kind of another mission that needs to happen because of the death of Thanos. And that's about all I really want to say about what's going on in this book. But Donny Cates bringing it full force. This is a great issue. What were you thinking, Josh?
I absolutely love this issue. I was worried because my theory is that Donny Cates has been killing it late, like all of 2018. He's just killing it. And I was worried that like all writers have to have one downfall, one issue that just like one series has downfall. Some people would say it would be Death of the Inhumans. I love that run. I don't know what people. There's a few people. I love Death of Inhumans. But he doesn't disappoint. This was a great issue. I'm excited. And then one thing I was really hoping was it'd be cool to have a Guardians of the Galaxy run in my collection. And now I'm having one. This is a great run.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
this is going to be a great run.
Yeah, I'm gonna save you guys the suspense. This is an absolute must pick up in my opinion. I woke up this morning and it was funny. I haven't had this kind of excitement in a long time. I'm like, oh yeah, Donny Cates' Guardians of the Galaxy #1 comes out today. I'm very excited to read this now. And now that we got a chance to read it, get our hands on it, I will say too, there's this big guessing game going on online. It's like who's going to be on the actual team.
I was going to mention that.
Every day they were kind of releasing a new person in the silhouettes of like who's going to be on the cover.
And only 6 of them is going to actually become the Guardians of the Galaxy.
As of now, from what we can glean now, yes. And I'm also happy to say I think I pretty much guessed to a T who was going to be on this team.
Oh yeah. I think we both did.
Yeah, but anyways, guys, this book is absolutely awesome. If you read Infinity Wars, this is going to be a really good follow-up to that, but not only a good follow-up, but I would say easily surpassing.
Yeah. Good recovery.
Good recovery. If you liked Cosmic Ghost Rider, this thing is going to be an absolute blast for you, but if you're a Beta Ray Bill fan like me, you're going to absolutely love this. If you're a Silver Surfer fan, you're going to love it. If you're a Star-Lord, Groot, all those characters, it's a massive team. It's a massive grouping of cosmic characters, and it's just so much fun.
And the cool thing about it is he's so good at writing for all these characters.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too. It's like, that's kind of like the worry about when a writer is doing like a team book like this, is how well is he going to be able to write for each character? And he does a great job writing for all these characters. I mean, to the point that even characters I don't normally like, I'm liking.
Right, and what I'll say too is like as a fan, right? When you ever kind of have you ever thought about writing like a fan fiction of your own? It's like, who do I want to throw together? It's like it never seems in the main books you get that team that you want.
Yeah.
In this book, I feel like Donny Cates is like he's gonna throw the characters you want to see together, and you're gonna have a good time. Like I haven't really felt that way about cosmic characters since the Thanos Imperative and the Annihilators got together. This is kind of like that. This is like the spiritual successor to that, almost in my opinion. And then at the same time, guys, the very end of this book, there's a twist, not a twist, but a reveal about kind of who's pulling the strings here, and I didn't see it coming. I thought I had it pegged. It went a completely different direction, and I'm so happy about it.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this.
So this was a great issue. I completely agree. This is, like I said, I would absolutely recommend picking this up. Josh, you?
I absolutely agree. I think I definitely recommend anybody picking it up. I think if you are getting comic books this week, this is a book that you definitely should pick up.
And not only that, I'd say this is one that you need to be keeping your eye on for the future. I'd say if you guys have a pull list at your local comic shop, definitely put this on there. Get this book. Make sure you're getting the subsequent issues because this is something I think you want to keep an eye on. I think it's going to shape up to be a great run. Donny Cates looks like he's going to be coming full force. Very excited about this book. So, with all of that out of the way, Josh, what would you rate issue 1?
Well, this issue is my favorite read this week.
Okay.
I picked this over Immortal Hulk. I'm going to definitely give it 4.75 Gorgillas.
All right, I'm going to go a little lower. I'm 4.2 Gorgillas. Still a strong recommendation from the both of us. But, guys, that is all we've got for you today here for the Marvel episode. Make sure you check out the DC one. It should also be on the channel. And also, guys, if you haven't checked out some of the past weeks, check those out as well if you're a little bit behind and you need some recommendations. There's always some good stuff in there. But that is all we've got for you. So thank you so much for listening. Hit that like button if you guys like this, or feel free to hit that thumbs down button if you hate us. Share this with your comic book reading friends. Let them know, hey, these guys recommend this too. I'm not the only one. Comment down below. Are you guys going to be picking any of these books up? Are there any ones that we didn't go over that you want to talk about? Let's have that conversation in the comments. And of course, guys, subscribe to the channel. As always, looking to grow, and we keep getting a lot of support. We really appreciate it.
I am Groot.